Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the official channel of 24/7 Regulatory Bodies and SO. My name is Amanjyot, and I am here with all of you to discuss the 11th October LiveMint newspaper analysis. So, before starting the session, let me know is audio, video both are okay? Are we good to go? जल्दी से बता दीजिए is audio and video both are okay? Are we good to go? So, good morning to all of you. This is how we are going to interact today also as we did in the last class. The PPT will be there and I will be there to explain that. Okay, so let's start. Good morning Amisha, let me know is everything okay? Are we good to go? चलिए start करते हैं. Before starting with the news, one information for all of you that if you have not downloaded the 24/7 application yet, then do download the application and start preparing for the quizzes and start giving tests. Okay, apart from that, if you have not subscribed the channel 24/7 Regulatory Bodies and SO, then do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that all the upcoming sessions notification will be given to you. Now let's start with the news of 11th of October. न्यूज़ इज़ दैट IDBI बैंक के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था दैट IDBI बैंक में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड द LIC is going to do the divestment, है ना? It means they are going to divest their funds in the IDBI. So the news is that IDBI Bank privatization financial bids likely by March, sale process to conclude by September. So this is what the news is. IDBI Bank को लेकर काफ़ी सारी चर्चाएं चल रही है न्यूज़ में. So I have already explained you it was a development financial institution. Now it is a then it becomes the public sector commercial bank. Then it becomes the private sector commercial bank. So earlier in the government along with LIC invited preliminary bids for selling 60.7.2% stake in the IDBI Bank. As per details, the last date for putting in expression of interest is December 16. So last date क्या है for putting in expression expression of interest that you really want to become a partner in the IDBI, that is your 16th of December. So on 16th of December, the last date, you can put your bid here. And next thing is the financial bid for IDBI Bank privatization is likely to be invited by March and conclusion of the sale process is expected in the next financial year, official said. कि आपका जो conclusion होगा sale process का that is expected in the next year, financial year of 2023-24 आपका वहाँ पे देखा जाएगा. एंड फाइनेंशियल बिड फॉर IDBI बैंक प्राइवेटाइजेशन आपका कब से स्टार्ट हो गया? मार्च से, इनवाइटेड बाय मार्च. ओके, नाउ द नेक्स्ट थिंग दे आर सेइंग कि अब यहाँ पे वही सेम चीज़ है दैट वी हैव स्टडीड ऑलरेडी कि 60.72% जो है आपका यहाँ पे IDBI में डाइवेस्ट करने की बात की गई है एंड दैट बी कम विद द एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट फिट एंड प्रॉपर असेसमेंट ऑफ RBI. जितने भी बिडर्स ऐसे हैं जो फिट एंड प्रॉपर असेसमेंट ऑफ RBI में पास हो गए हैं, दे हैव टू गो टू द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स एंड वहाँ से सिक्योरिटी क्लियरेंस उनको लेना पड़ेगा. Once the clearance is there, after due diligence, bidders would put in the financial bid. So first you have appeared in the fit and proper assessment of RBI. You got the security clearance from Ministry of Home Affairs. Then you can put your financial bid. तब आप अपनी बोली लगा सकते हैं on the bank. Now, usually for the process of due diligence to get completed, the financial bid to come in, it takes about 6 months. इतना टाइम लेता है? 6 months लेता है. We hope to invite financial bids for IDBI Bank by March. कब तक हम ले रहे हैं? मार्च तक we are hoping that financial bid जो है वो आ जाएगा. A lot of queries are expected to be raised during the due diligence process, considering that this would be the first case of a strategic sale in the bank. Okay, so what we are saying here यहाँ पे कि आपका ड्यू डिलिजेंस प्रोसेस कंप्लीट होने के बाद वी विल स्टार्ट द फर्स्ट केस ऑफ स्ट्रैटेजिक सेल इन द बैंक. सो मैंने आपको कल ही बताया था डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट के 2 मेथड होते हैं. द फर्स्ट मेथड इज माइनॉरिटी सेल, सेकंड मेथड इज स्ट्रैटेजिक सेल. माइनॉरिटी सेल होता है जहां पे अप टू 49% शेयर सेल किए जाते हैं एंड स्ट्रैटेजिक सेल होता है जहां पे 51 या उससे ज़्यादा शेयर सेल किए जाते हैं. तो फर्स्ट केस ऑफ स्ट्रैटेजिक सेल इन बैंक स्टार्ट किया जाएगा ड्यू डिलिजेंस प्रोसेस के बाद. सो द प्रोसेस ऑफ IDBI बैंक स्ट्रैटेजिक सेल इज लाइकली टू कंक्लूड बाय सितंबर. कब तक हो जाएगा? सितंबर तक हो जाएगा. नाउ द प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक, फॉरेन बैंक, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया रजिस्टर्ड NBFCs, नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनी, SEBI रजिस्टर्ड ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड्स, a fund investment vehicle incorporated outside India would be allowed to submit bids either individually or as consortium. Consortium means groups. गुड मॉर्निंग सारश. व्हाट वी आर सेइंग कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक है, फॉरेन बैंक्स हैं, RBI के थ्रू रजिस्टर्ड NBFCs जो हैं, SEBI के थ्रू रजिस्टर्ड ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड्स जो हैं, दे ऑल कैन सबमिट देयर बिड आइदर इंडिविजुअली और एज अ कंसोर्टियम और एज अ ग्रुप. जैसे सिंडिकेट लोन हम पढ़ते हैं, कंसोर्टियम लोन हम पढ़ते हैं, क्या होता है, ग्रुप ऑफ लेंडर्स मिलकर एक कस्टमर को लोन दे रहे होते हैं। वही सेम सिचुएशन यहाँ पे है कि ग्रुप ऑफ बैंक्स मिलकर आपका शेयर्स खरीदने की बात करेंगे। सो नेट वर्थ थ्रेशोल्ड फॉर द बिडर्स has been capped at 22,500 crores and they must report net profit in 3 of the past 5 years. And besides, 40% of the equity would have to be logged in the 5 years. ठीक है, this has been said. और साथ में हम बोल रहे हैं currently LIC holds 49.24% stake in the IDBI Bank. The government holds 45.48% stake. So the remaining 5.2% stake in the पब्लिक शेयर होल्डर। तो देखो क्या हुआ था, आईडीबीआई के 51% शेयर्स खरीदे थे एलआईसी ने, बट नाउ एलआईसी से ले लिया गया। नाउ नोबडी इज दी हैव द होल ओनरशिप ऑन द आईडीबीआई, है ना, होल ओनरशिप किसी के पास नहीं है। 49 इज विद द एलआईसी एंड 45 इज द गवर्नमेंट। रिमेनिंग जो है दैट इज इन द मार्केट, दैट इज परचेज बाय द पब्लिक। किसने परचेज किया है, पब्लिक ने परचेज किया है। तो कंबाइंड स्टेक ऑफ गवर्नमेंट एंड एलआईसी आईडीबीआई वुड कम डाउन from 94.72% to 34% after the conclusion of the strategic sale, क्योंकि 67.72% का आपका यहाँ पे strategic sale करना है, कि 60.72% का strategic sale करने के बाद गवर्नमेंट और आईडीबीआई का जो शेयर होल्डिंग रह जाएगा that will remain 34%, है ना। नेक्स्ट, so the government will sell 30.48% stake and LIC will send 30.24 एंड जिससे आपका 60.72% ऑफ शेयर जो है वो सेल किए जाएंगे। ट्रांसफर ऑफ मैनेजमेंट कंट्रोल दे दिया जाएगा बिकॉज ओनरशिप चली जाएगी। So in case the bidder intends to amalgamate IDBI Bank with itself, the government and LIC will vote for such amalgamation or merger at the board or the shareholders meeting. लाइक मान लीजिए जो भी कंपनी इसको परचेस करता है, जो भी बिडर इसको परचेस करता है, अगर वो अमलगमेट करना चाहता है आईडीबीआई को, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल जस्ट इन केस हम मान लेते हैं एक्सिस बैंक ने खरीद लिया, तो अगर एक्सिस बैंक वांट्स टू amalgamate the IDBI, so first they have to take the voting from the government of India and LIC also. If they vote like for the context of the amalgamation, then that is going to be happen, otherwise नहीं होगा। ठीक है, जैसे कि amalgamation क्या होता है, when you amalgamate two or more than two companies, always the third new company will be appreciate, है ना, नई कंपनी बनाई जाती है in the amalgamation. We have studied in the school also ना, chemistry में हम practical करते थे, दो chemicals को amalgamate करते थे, एक नया chemical बनाते थे, that's the amalgamation process. So announcement of IDBI Bank privatization was first made in the Union Budget of 21-22, following which the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs gave in principle approval for a strategic disinvestment and transfer of management control in May 2021. So with effect from January 2019, IDBI Bank was categorized as the private sector bank by RBI. 2019 में IDBI आपका प्राइवेट सेक्टर हो चुका था। LIC ने एक्वायर कर लिया था 51% शेयर्स, टोटल पेड अप इक्विटी कैपिटल ऑफ द बैंक। तो क्या था, ये प्राइवेट बैंक था, बट नाउ इट बिकेम अगेन अ काइंड ऑफ बैंक जिसमें LIC की शेयर होल्डिंग 51 से कम हो चुकी है, तो इट्स नॉट अ प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक एनीमोर। नाउ द इम्पॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन, नोबेल प्राइज जो है आपके डिक्लेयर हो चुके हैं। एक एक नोबेल प्राइज विनर का नाम आपको पता होना चाहिए इन एवरी फील्ड, ठीक है, सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं, इन एवरी फील्ड यू शुड नो द नेम ऑफ द नोबेल प्राइज विनर। रट लो इस नाम को बिकॉज डेफिनेटली नोबेल प्राइज से क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं। तो नोबेल प्राइज इन इकोनॉमिक्स यूएस ट्रियो इंक्लूडिंग द एक्स फेड चीफ बेर्नाके, है ना, विन। तो आपके तीनों क्या है, यूएस ट्रियो है। So unlike the other prizes, the Economics Award wasn't established in Alfred Nobel's will, है ना, of 1895. तो अल्फ्रेड नोबल्स की विल में 1895 में आपका इकोनॉमिक्स का नोबेल प्राइज को नहीं बनाया गया था, बट बाय द स्वीडिश सेंट्रल बैंक इन हिज मेमोरी। किसने इंट्रोड्यूस किया, स्वीडिश सेंट्रल बैंक ने उनकी मेमोरी में इसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया। ठीक है, तो बेन एस बर्नाके, डगलस डब्ल्यू डायमंड, फिलिप्स एच डेबिक have won the 2022 Nobel Prize for Economics on Monday for research on the banks and financial crisis. किसके ऊपर रिसर्च इन्होंने किया है, बैंक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस के ऊपर रिसर्च किया है। डू रिमेंबर द टॉपिक ऑल्सो कि इनका रिसर्च किस बारे में था, तो बैंक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस के ऊपर रिसर्च इन्होंने किया है एंड दे ऑल द 3 यूएस ट्रियो वॉन द 2022 Nobel Prize. अब अवार्ड मनी कितना है, the cash award will be 10 million Swedish kronor, that is around $9 lakh, and that will be handed over on the 10th of December. कब किया जाएगा, 10th of December क्यों किया जाएगा। ठीक है, चलिए नेक्स्ट आगे बात करते हैं। तो यहाँ पे what they have done, they work which the work with which for which the Bernanke, Diamond and Darling are being recognized has been crucial to subsequent research that enhanced our understanding of banks regulation, banking crisis and how the financial crisis should be managed. So इन्होंने हमें बताया है बैंकिंग के बारे में, बैंकिंग ट्रांजेक्शन्स के बारे में, बैंकिंग रेगुलेशंस के बारे में एंड द क्राइसिस विच गोइंग टू बी कम, प्रोएक्टिव कैसे हों कि कैसे आप उसको मैनेज कर सकते हो फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस को. The research presented by this year's laureates in the economic science reduces the risk of financial crisis developing into long-term depression with severe consequences for society, which of the greatest benefit to us all. Now, unlike the other prizes, the Economist Award wasn't established in Alfred Nobel's. That was introduced by the Swedish Central Bank in his memory. So the first winner was selected in the year 1969. पहला winner कब select किया गया था? 1969 में. Okay, so the last year half of the award went to David Card for his research on how the minimum wages, immigration and education affect the labor market. Now you can see कितने realistic topics that actually the world economy is facing, उनके ऊपर research किया गया and they won the Nobel prizes. ठीक है, so other half was shared by the Joshua Ingres and the Guido Imbens for proposing the how to study issues that don't easily fit traditional scientific method. There were two topic in the last year, उनमें से half prize जो है that went to David and the half prize went to two people who talk about the how to study issues that don't easily fit traditional scientific methods. So a week of Nobel Prize announcement kicked off 3rd of October with the Swedish scientist Svante Pabo receiving the award in medicine for unlocking secrets of Neanderthal DNA that provided key insight into our immune system. साथ ही में यहाँ पे 3 scientists jointly won the prize in physics Tuesday को and the name of the scientists are these. So do remember in all the field you have to memorize the Nobel Prize winners. The Nobel Prize winners in chemistry was awarded to American Carlion R. Berezotti and K. Barry Spears and Danish scientists. Morton Medal for the developing a way of snapping molecules together. Now the French author Annie Ernaux won this year's Nobel Prize in Literature. है ना, लिटरेचर में किसने विन किया है आपका? एनी एनॉक ने. So the panel commented her for blending fiction and autobiography in book that fearlessly mine her expression as a working class woman to explore life in France since the 1940s. And the Nobel Peace Prize went to the jailed Belarus human rights activist Alice Velaski, the Russian group Memorial and the Ukraine organization Center for Civil Liberties on Friday. So do remember the chemistry, the physics, the Nobel Peace Prize, the economics, everything we literature, everything we have to remember और अच्छे से memorize करने पड़ेंगे नाम, कौन सी country से belong करते हैं, किस topic पे research किया था तो इनको Nobel Prize मिला है. All these are important. ठीक है, चलिए. Now satellite service to lead India to $13 billion space economy by 2025. Now what we are saying is satellite service to lead India to $13 billion space economy by the year 2025. So satellite and space launch service from both ISRO and the private space startup to grow the fastest at a compound annual growth rate of 13% in the next 3 years. So what we are saying is satellite and space launch service from both ISRO and the private space startup, ये growth जो कर रहे हैं that is the fastest growth, वो भी कौन सी rate पे? compound annual growth rate के ऊपर, and that rate is 13% for the next 3 years. अगले 3 सालों में भी इसी rate से हम growth करने वाले हैं and it will make the space economy of India the business of $13 billion. ठीक है, so a boost in the volume of there is a boost in the volume of anticipated satellite launch service in India can catapult the country's space economy from to $13 billion in revenue by 2025. A report consultancy firm EY India and industry body Indian Space Association said on Monday. Now, the unveiled at the 2022 Indian Space Conclave in the national capital, the report projected satellite and space launch service from both Indian Space Research Organization and the private startup to grow faster at the rate of CAGR of 13%, वो भी next 3 years तक. ठीक है, so that's a saying कि आपका इंडिया का जो स्पेस इकोनॉमी है that is going to generate the revenue by the year 2025 of $13 billion. कितने का? $13 billion का. So according to Mr. Somanath, chairman of ISRO, launch service in India could grow on the back of a public-private partnership model in space that has been successfully deployed by the US over the past 2 decades. तो हम क्या बोल रहे हैं, पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप की हेल्प से वी कैन हैव अ मेजर सक्सेस इन द स्पेस इकोनॉमी ऑल्सो, जो कि आपका यूएस ने एक एग्जांपल दिया ही है हमें. So US established an idea model of public-private partnership in space with the government's NASA, accomplishing its own space shuttle and tapping private companies in the country to build product. So they have done it over 2 decades to lead the world today, and India has all ingredients to create a successful model for it too. So it is obvious कि US ने एक example set किया. Now India is also ready to do so. So EY ISPA report also highlighted that satellite application and services, which are also growing in tandem, will launch services in India's fledgling private perspective. Okay, so Indian space economy in 2025, it will create a $13 billion revenue for the country. ठीक है, तो प्रशांत सिंगल, that is the leader of emerging markets in technology, media and telecom, added the growth satellite service will come on the back of aiding connectivity in areas with limited terrestrial network, which in India accounts for a major opportunity. So India's overall tele-density stands at 85% at the end of the July 2022. So with the rural tele-density the just crossing 58% mark, so satellite connectivity in conjunction with the terrestrial communication network can help to improve the tele-density significantly, he said. So it is going to help in the tele-density also. Okay, now नेक्स्ट न्यूज़ इज रिलेटेड टू मिसेस निर्मला सीतारमन. आजकल हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर मिसेस निर्मला सीतारमन इज इन यूएसए फ्रॉम ट्यूसडे टू अटेंड द आईएमएफ वर्ल्ड बैंक एनुअल मीटिंग. तो आईएमएफ और वर्ल्ड बैंक की एनुअल मीटिंग को अटेंड करने के लिए मिसेस निर्मला सीतारमन राइट नाउ इज इन द यूएस. ठीक है, सो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर विल बी ऑन विजिट टू यूएस फ्रॉम ट्यूसडे and is scheduled to attend the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. Both are known as twin sister organization. दोनों ही आपके क्या है, twin sister organization. So you should know now your finance minister is where. So finance minister went to attend the uh, World Bank and IMF's annual meeting. So with an aim of highlighting India's policies priority and showcasing India's attractiveness as an investment destination, Union Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman will attend the several meetings on her visit to the United States. So she will also attend the annual meeting of the IMF and the World Bank, who are likely to deliberate on the state of the global economy. So this is simple कि आपका इंडिया की पॉलिसी प्रायोरिटीज़ को बताने के बारे में, शो कॉज करने के बारे में इंडिया के अट्रैक्टिवनेस को, है ना, एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट डेस्टिनेशन. कि वी आर सेइंग दैट इंडिया बिकेम अ इन्वेस्टमेंट डेस्टिनेशन बिकॉज वी हैव डन द लॉट ऑफ ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, है ना, बहुत सारे रिफॉर्म्स हमने कर दिए, लॉज को हमने खत्म कर दिया एक्सेट्रा. तो वी आर ट्राइंग टू शो दैट इंडिया इज़ अ बेस्ट प्लेस फॉर द इन्वेस्टमेंट. और साथ ही में आपका आईएमएफ एंड वर्ल्ड बैंक का जो एनुअल मीटिंग है, जहाँ पे स्टेट ऑफ द ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी के बारे में डिस्कशन किया जाएगा, बताया जाएगा, उसको भी अटेंड करेंगी कौन, मिसेस निर्मला सीतारमन. So Mrs. Sitharaman will be on the 6th-day visit to the US from 11th October to 16th October and will have a separate meeting with the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and the World Bank President Mr. David Malpass to discuss the areas of mutual interest. So she is going to have a separate meetings, individual meetings with these two also to see that what are the common mutual interest of areas there for the development. The minister will also attend the G20 finance minister and central governors meetings as well as meet with the business leaders and investors. तो G20 कंट्रीज की फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर्स एंड सेंट्रल बैंक गवर्नर्स मीटिंग को भी अटेंड करेंगी मिसेस निर्मला सीतारमन. साथ ही में फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर, यूनियन फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर एंड कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर विल बी ट्रैवलिंग टू यूएसए ऑन एन ऑफिशियल विजिट beginning from 11th of October. During her visit, she will be attending the annual meeting. She will be attending the G20 finance minister, central bank governors meeting, etc. So the minister's itinerary also includes the bilateral meeting with the delegates of Japan, South Korea, then the Saudi Arabia, Australia, Bhutan, New Zealand, Egypt, Germany, Mauritius, UAE, Iran, and the Netherlands. So finance minister is also going to have a bilateral meeting with the delegates of these countries. इनके साथ भी bilateral meetings की जाएंगी, like what are the common interest areas of these two countries. One-on-one meeting होगा schedule between the minister, leaders, heads of the OECD, the European Commission and UNDP. इनके साथ one-to-one meeting में भी held होगा. Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman will also speak to the John Hopkins University's Schools of Advanced International Studies about India's unique digital public goods story and the multiplier effect created in India through the interlinkage of technology, finance minister said. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे शी इज गोइंग टू हैव अ मीटिंग विद लॉट्स ऑफ individual leaders of the countries, with the individual leaders of the international organization, with the leaders of the US and the World Bank, and also going to attend the annual meeting of IMF and World Bank, also going to attend the G20 finance minister and central bank governor meeting. So all these meetings will be attended by her. So she will also take part in the fireside chat at the Brookings Institution on India's economic prospect and role in the world economy. Okay, so she is also being attending, or she is also being take a part in the fireside chat at the Brookings Institution. ठीक है, जहाँ पे इंडिया की इकोनॉमिक प्रोस्पेक्ट और इंडिया का रोल क्या है इन द वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी, इसके बारे में डिस्कशन किया जाएगा. Now next we have a World Bank news. So World Bank IMF need to restructure to enable the climate financing, Mr. Amitabh Kant has said. Mr. Amitabh Kant का नाम आपने सुना होगा. In the Niti Aayog we have heard about him. So Mr. Kant reiterated that the developed world needs to fulfill the commitments made to the developing nations on the climate financing at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen. So he said कि आपके जो developing nations हैं, है ना, उनके साथ जो वादे किए गए हैं, जो कमिटमेंट किए गए हैं बाय द वर्ल्ड डेवलप्ड नेशंस, है ना, आपके डेवलप्ड नेशंस के थ्रू, दैट शुड बी फुलफिल्ड, उनको फुलफिल करना चाहिए. और ये कहाँ की बात कर रहे हैं? यूनाइटेड नेशन क्लाइमेट चेंज कॉन्फ्रेंस जो कोपेनहेगन में हुआ था, कि वहाँ पे जो भी आपके डेलीगेट्स थे फ्रॉम द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, they have given a certain commitment that should be fulfilled. Next, so global institutions such as आपका World Bank and IMF need to be reformed and restructured to enable the climate financing as they were designed for the post-World War II world order, but not for the post-climate change era of today, said Mr. Amitabh Kant, in the G20 India Sherpa. So what we are saying, he said कि World Bank और IMF को ज़रूरत है रिफॉर्म्स करने की, रिस्ट्रक्चर करने की, टू अनेबल द क्लाइमेट फाइनेंसिंग. किसको अनेबल करने के लिए? क्लाइमेट फाइनेंसिंग को. एज ये दोनों बनाए गए थे फॉर द पोस्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर सेकेंड वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर, बट नॉट फॉर द पोस्ट क्लाइमेट चेंज एरा ऑफ टूडे, है ना. ऐसा नहीं कि पोस्ट क्लाइमेट चेंज हो जाएगा उसके बाद आप यहाँ पे काम करोगे. ये आपको बनाया गया था वर्ल्ड वॉर सेकेंड के बाद का जो पोस्ट एरा था उसमें काम करने के लिए. So they have to focus on the climate change financing, है ना. Speaking at the B20 Indonesia Global Dialogue in India organized by CII, Mr. Kant said that the developed world needs to fulfill their commitment made to the developing nations on the climate financing at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen. Many developing countries, including India and Indonesia, were not responsible for all the carbon emission of the world, he added. So there are many developing countries like India and the Indonesia. They are not responsible for all the carbon emission of the world. तो जो developed nations ने commitments दिए थे, that should be fulfilled. So when the Western world was industrializing, it was carbonizing the world. When China was expanding, it was carbonizing the world. Now when developing countries have to grow and expand without carbonizing the world, the necessities that resources that developed world in the same of climate justice agreed to both in Copenhagen COP21 and the COP26 should be lived up to, that the Mr. Khan said कि बाकी जितनी भी आपकी countries हैं जो develop हो चुकी हैं, they were using the carbon, they were carbonizing the world when they were started developing, है ना. इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन कर रहे थे तो कार्बनाइजिंग कर रहे थे वर्ल्ड को. बट अब जो हमारी कंट्रीज हैं, लाइक इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द इंडिया, so we are trying to perform that without carbonizing the world. So this necessitates that resources that the developed world, in the name of the climate justice, agreed to both in the Copenhagen and COP21 and COP26 should lived up to, कि वो आपको देना चाहिए वो resources, because we are not carbonizing the world ना at the time of developing ourselves. तो जो आपने वादे किए थे वो आपको पूरे करने चाहिए. That's what Mr. Amitabh Kant said. ठीक है. So global institution world of the world such as the IMF, World Bank need to restructure to enable the climate financing, he said, adding that if education, health and nutrition have to be impacted, therefore is a greater need for resources. So all these institutions do direct lending to contribute to countries rather than credit enhancement. They don't provide blended finance. That is a basic inherent flaw in these institutions. So these need to be restructured to enable the climate financing for the sake of the citizen of the world and to make far more accelerated finance, Mr. Amitabh Kant said. तो यहाँ पे कहा गया that all the institutions to direct the lending to countries, आपको direct lending to countries करना चाहिए rather than credit enhancement facility. ठीक है, ये क्या नहीं प्रोवाइड करते, ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस नहीं देते. व्हाट इज ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस? व्हेन देयर इज अ पार्टनरशिप बिटवीन पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट एंड दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग सर्विसेज ऑफ फाइनेंस, दैट इज नोन एज योर ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस. ठीक है, तो ये आपका एक बेसिक इनहेरेंट फ्लॉ है इन इंस्टीट्यूशन का, दैट दे डोंट प्रोवाइड द ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस सर्विसेज. ठीक है. So speaking about the impact of the war and the ensuring food and emergency crisis, the G20 India Sherpa stated that for the first time in 12 of the 11 meetings of G20, countries have not been able to get a communique out, largely due to differences within the G20. So आपकी जितनी भी meetings हुई हैं, है ना, in 12 of the 11 meetings of G20, countries जो हैं they have not been able to what? Able to get a communique out. That is largely due to the differences within the G20 countries. So these are very challenging times because we are in the midst of the fractured world, not merely because of the Russia-Ukraine war. We have seen food and energy crisis, climate change, biodiversity loss, the global supply chain remains disrupted, etc. So this is a very fractured world. We can see everything which we are seeing is at the negative side, not only the war but the economic conditions also. So B12, that is Business 20, formed in 2010, is the official G20 dialogue forum with the global business community, which aims to deliver the concrete actionable policy recommendation on the priorities of the each rotating presidency to serve the economic growth and development. So B20 जो है, that is a Business 20 जिसको form किया गया था 2010 में by the officials of the G20 countries डायलॉग, और इन्होंने क्यों बनाया था? विद द ग्लोबल बिजनेस कम्युनिटी के साथ बनाया गया था, विच एम्स टू डिलीवर द कॉन्क्रीट एक्शनेबल पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन, कि जो आपको पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन देगा कि प्रायोरिटीज आपका कहाँ होना चाहिए, है ना. एंड द प्रेसिडेंसी विल बी रोटेटिंग, कि प्रेसिडेंसी आपको जो मेंबर कंट्रीज है उनमें रोटेट किया जाएगा. तो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि आरबीआई के अंदर या फिर हम बात करें in the situation of the World Bank, we have seen कि आपको क्या करना चाहिए, that you should focus on the climate change financing. You have to give climate change financing apart from doing the credit enhancement facility. By providing credit enhancement facility, you are not supporting the climate change. तो आपको क्या करना चाहिए? डायरेक्ट क्रेडिट देना चाहिए for the climate change purpose. This is what Mr. Amitabh Kant has said. ठीक है, किसने कहा है? Mr. Amitabh Kant ने कहा है. Clear? So let's end the session here. Before ending the session, this is the information for all of you that the new or the third foundation batch of RBI is going to start from the 17th of October. And as we know, in the phase 2 or the foundation 2 batch of RBI, the ESI has not yet started. So ESI is going to start from the 17th October. All the current affairs classes and also as well as your static classes is going to start the 17th. So do make sure if you are now enrolling in a paid batch, then don't go with the foundation batch 2. You have to go with the foundation batch 3, because here you will find all the classes live. The thing is that the RBS batch for third foundation batch is going to start. So to enroll in any of the batch, you can use the code Y343. और 17 अक्टूबर को मिलेंगे ESI के अंदर इन द फेज 2 बैच ऑल्सो, सॉरी द फाउंडेशन 2 बैच ऑल्सो एंड द फाउंडेशन 3 बैच ऑल्सो. ठीक है, चलिए नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट. वन मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट द that if you want everything, like if you want live classes, e-books, test series and everything, and for the all commercial banks exam, insurance exam, regulatory bodies exam, then you can go with the Bank MAHA Plus. You don't have to pay the actual prices which are written here. You can use the code Y343. You will get 78% discount here if you purchase from the application. Okay, so this is the MAHA packs which are available for all of you. Now last but not the least, if you like the session, do press the like button. If you have any particular doubt तो आप पूछ सकते हो comment section में. Not regarding the news, अगर कोई और भी doubt है, you can ask in the comment section. We'll check your comment and answer there. And last but not the least, share the session. And if you are new to the channel, do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon ताकि सभी upcoming sessions की notification आप लोगों को मिलते रहे. ठीक है, चलिए तो let's end the session here. मिलते हैं in the next class जो कि होने वाला है 5:30 PM पे regarding